going on, everyone? Welcome to Drumeo Edge. Today is our 500th lesson anniversary. Can you believe we've done 500 live lessons?
We have done 500 hours of online lessons through Drumeo, and that is not included any of our packages. It's not including any of our YouTube videos. It's only including Drumeo Edge and the service there we have with our members, and something that Dave works really hard on. And Dave, I have this bouquet of roses for you.
Oh.
It's invisible.
Why, thank you very much.
Happy 500! Happy 500!
You know, it's funny because I bet you, and I know that there's probably some Drumeo Edge members that have been at almost all 500 lessons, or at least have watched all 500. So thank you so much, everyone, for helping make this, you know, dream that we've had come true with being so supportive with us and loving the lessons. And I've been watching you guys' videos, and your improvement is insane. So yeah, cheers to you guys, and let's celebrate 500 lessons and another 500 to come. So
one of our biggest mottos is drumming should always be fun, and so we wanted to do something fun and something that kind of represents how we started, which is me and Dave in my basement.
Yes.
And so we wanted to kind of bring it back home and just kind of bring it back to the roots. That was me and Dave on two kits, shredding, just having fun teaching, not being super like judgmental of each other's drumming or anything like that. We're just here to have fun. And so it's awesome that we have done 500 lessons. Now, do you know how long it would take you to watch all 500 lessons?
500 hours.
Well, okay, but if you were to sit down today, you wouldn't stop watching drum lessons for 20 hours. Or for 20 days.
20 days.
20 days straight. You would be sitting there. So if anyone wants to do that, Drumeo will sponsor the event.
Yes. We'll pay all your missed wages. No, we probably shouldn't say that.
No. But today's going to be great. We're going to give away around $300 worth of drum gear. We've got some awesome embroidered stick bags. We've got some sticks. Dave's giving away his cymbals.
I'm giving away
his shirt and his left shoe, if you want that. So today is also a really fun lesson topic, and we're going to talk about 7 drummers. 7 mistakes.
7 drummers that are full of mistakes.
7 mistakes that all drummers make, okay? What do you want to do?
I got all the stuff. This is what we're going to give away, okay? Yeah. I just want to show you guys what we have to give away. 2 of these fantastic Drumeo stick bags. Right. Check it out. Is that alligator skin? I don't know.
No alligators were harmed.
Joe Giuseppe, if he's in the chat, this is no alligators were harmed. So you get a stick bag, and this is what I really can't wait to give away.
Not be able to give it away later.
Yeah, you get that one.
Well, that's mine, right?
This is
that's mine, right?
This was mine.
What?
As you can see, the name on the back.
Oh.
Yeah, you can't really steal that one. But this here is a snare bag. Giuseppe, Joe Giuseppe is in the chat there with us probably right now. He makes these for us, and you're going to win one of these today. Somebody in the lesson today is going to win a snare bag, Drumeo snare bag.
It's your personal embroidered snare bag. It says Dave Atkinson.
And don't worry, it won't be the Dave Atkinson one. It'll be your own with no name on it, but it'll be a Drumeo snare bag. So. Yeah. All right, so how we're going to do that, let me just tell you quickly right now.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to ask some skill testing Drumeo Edge questions, but that's going to be later on. For free memberships, I'm going to be giving away 2 free Drumeo month memberships as well. And for the snare bag, what you have to do to win those is go to the Facebook Drumeo page. And we've done this a lot. And it works great because everybody can participate who has Facebook. Go to facebook.com/Drumeo, post on our wall. First, like it if you haven't. Then post, what are you doing?
Combing my hair.
Post on our wall one thing or the best thing you like about Drumeo Edge. If you're not a member, that's totally fine. What are the things that you're looking forward to when you do sign up for Edge? Whatever it is, Victor back there is going to choose the best 3. 2 of them are going to win a month membership. 1 of them is going to win a snare bag. And then I'm also going to ask some skill testing questions for the stick bags and the sticks.
And you got to be in the chat to do that.
Yes. Go ahead, Jared.
Awesome. Yeah, and I know everyone's going to be like saying, oh, I just love how the drums sound. The sound is so good. Yeah. Now that they know Victor is actually judging it. Yeah. Everything's going to be about the sound. Oh, those Sennheiser 402s were probably the best choice you could have made.
Yeah, Victor's going to choose that one, that's for sure. But we also have, for people who don't have Facebook, some people in the chat say, oh, I don't have Facebook. That's why we're doing chat winnings and Facebook winnings.
Right.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay, so getting into this, I didn't want this to be like a negative lesson at all. And so with every mistake, per se, we're also going to talk about some solutions. And it's not just going to be me sitting here telling you all the things that we all do wrong, because that would be really, really depressing. And so as I, from when I started drumming to now, it's like I look back, I'm like, wow, I made so many mistakes. And I did actually quite a bit of research on this through my Facebook page and our different communities, and just asking, like, what are your biggest mistakes you see drummers making? And I got a lot of really, really interesting responses. And so we're just going to kind of start from the top, and this isn't by any means all the mistakes, but I think it actually encompasses the majority of the largest mistakes that drummers make.
Yeah.
And so one of the mistakes I see drummers making is that they don't use any dynamics. Now, dynamics is basically the volume or intensity, maybe not intensity, but the volume at which you're playing at. And I was thinking about this the other day, I'm like, yeah, you're scratching.
I'm scratching big time. I
was thinking about this the other day, and like you have these beginner drummers and intermediate drummers, high intermediate drummers, and they are like, they're like a fast food place. You go, you get a small, medium, or large drink, and that's their dynamic level. I can play quiet, I can play medium, and I can play loud. Whereas you got guys like Dave Weckl, Benny Greb, these amazing players. These guys have like 20 levels, 50 levels, and they say, someone says you turn it up a tiny bit, they just make a tiny adjustment in their technique, and now they're able to play way better. And so I think having dynamics is a lot about just developing those different levels. And the more levels you have, the better you're going to sound. And I think that's why you have a guy like Steve Jordan. I don't have it. Oh, that's here. Steve Jordan plays this. Or, and he plays that, and it's like, why I play that, it doesn't sound that good. Well, it's because he's making all these tiny adjustments. His hi-hats are like at a number 30. His snare's at a number 21. His bass drum's at like a 40 or whatever, and he's able to like really, really fine-tune his playing. And I love that, okay? So as far as other dynamic techniques you can learn, one is ghost notes, okay? That's basically notes that are more felt than heard. So you play the notes. Technically, I guess in marching band, you actually don't play the notes. They're considered rest. But when we talk about drum set playing, generally we say ghost notes are played. And they're those quiet notes in between the louder accented. All right? Then you have accenting. Now, accenting, it means many different things, but let's say you're playing a set of notes at a certain tempo. All right, so that's our set tempo. Now, you might say, well, those are all accents. Well, based on what? What is your reference? And so I would say if those were my regular notes, then when I accent, I want something that's much, much louder. Something like this. You have those super loud notes, and that's totally wailing on the rim there.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so glad my stick didn't break. Okay, so that's a few kind of dynamic things. And then also like crescendos, okay? Slowly getting louder and slowly getting quieter. And then you can also have short crescendos where you get louder really fast and quieter really fast, but you still go through all those levels. And so it's really important when you're playing, when you're practicing, that you're aware of what you're doing. You're not just hitting things. Because if you're simply hitting things and not being aware of the dynamics, that's like a huge mistake. And that's what will make, for me, Benny Greb or Steve Jordan playing that beat, I'm like, why? And I think that's it. So.
Well, when you say they don't use dynamics as one of the mistakes all drummers make, you might be a drummer right now who's advanced or even high intermediate, and you might say, you know what, I play dynamics. Yeah. I don't use that. But think about all the beats that are played in top 40 music, or any beat that's really popular. Chances are you can play it if you're at a high intermediate level. There's not a lot of really crazy technical stuff that's on a top 40 song. So why is that drummer better than you? Why can't you play that beat the same? Like Jared was saying, it's all about the little dynamics. So before you start thinking, okay, I'm going to go learn this polyrhythm, I'm going to learn these ostinatos over that, maybe you should take a step back and think, have you really mastered your dynamics, or do you just know how to play ghost notes? Because it's a lot more than just, I can play low, and I can play an accent. It's a little bit more than that. It's about internally mixing your drums and all that, and that's one mistake that I think we see a lot of drummers not make. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, and for all you Edge members who are here, this is the first time we've done this, but we're always experimenting with new stuff. And so below each one of these things, I also put a link to an existing lesson in our members area. So if you're watching this lesson now or later on, as it's in the archive forever, you can just kind of go to the other lessons and then get some more information on that topic. Because you might be like, that's me. I'm making that mistake.
Yeah.
Click, go check the lesson. All right, the next one is, I'm so guilty of this. They use the wrong kit setup. Okay, I used to think, everyone sees their favorite drummer, and for Travis Barker, it might be really cool to have his cymbals really high.
Or like straight flat this one.
Straight flat, and because he has a cymbal endorsement and he gets as many free cymbals as he wants, he can afford to hit through them and break them, and it just doesn't matter. But too many drummers just focus on the aesthetics of their drum setup and not on how it actually feels. And I'm definitely guilty of this. I would set it up, oh, it feels so good, then I go out front, I look at the kit, like, oh man, that tom looks like it's angled funny. Okay, go adjust the tom, and it doesn't feel the same. It's like, what are you doing, man? It felt great, so why are you changing that? And so start with how it feels. Make sure it's very ergonomic. And ergonomic, what does that mean again? It means it's natural, very natural feeling and comfortable. That's not the technical definition. But so don't set up for showmanship unless whatever your setup, your showmanship setup is what's most comfortable. And make sure everything feels comfortable. Everything is within reach. You see here, if my arms are at their side, I can hit that cymbal. I can hit the ride. I can hit this low tom. I have to go out a tiny bit to hit the high tom, which is fine because it's not like the main voice. But then everything here, this is in the cockpit. This is like the driver's seat. Everything here is nice. It's a real nice.
They're nice. We actually get, when we do video reviews, and we got a lot of these from just the experience that we've had with Drum U Edge and doing lessons, but one of the big things that we usually always catch when people submit a video is their kit setup's wrong.
Right.
Even your throne height, like how high Jared's sitting. Right. We see people sitting too low. We see people sitting too high.
That was next. Thanks for doing that, Dave.
Shoot!
Okay,
Shoot.
So throne is too low or too high. When I started out playing, every single time I went to play, I put my throne as low as it can go. Okay, so I was like this. And I don't know if they can see a side view here, but look at how much my setup has evolved. There's no side view, hey? Yeah, well, that doesn't help. But yeah, my legs are actually angled up, right? And so as my setup, and as I grew, because when I started playing, I was around 15, and I grew a little bit after that, my whole kit kind of came up. And then now I sit with my legs angled slightly downwards and everything very accessible. And I can be over top of my tom rather than it being like this, right? And it's always personal preference, but these are some really good guidelines for you to use. Just is everything accessible? Mm-hmm. And the angles at which I am hitting my drums, bringing out the best sounds in them. Because a lot of times you'll see drummers with their toms angled like this. And then they're sitting high, so when you hit the drums, it's actually like this, right? It's almost like a sweeping motion.
The power toms, like
yeah.
Love those kits.
Cool. Okay, so let's move on. This is another big one, and I see this happening a lot. They try and learn too much at one time. This is something I say in my successful drumming package, and we have lots of other things in Drum U Edge. But choose 5 things at one time, and as you progress farther and farther along, you'll eventually get to the point where you've got to learn 30 songs. But even then, you always want to narrow it down to certain ones you're working on, stuff like that. Set a milestone to move on. That means you're never finished, and as far as my single stroke roll, I still practice it. I know how to play right, left, but I still practice my single stroke roll. But there has to be a time when I say, okay, I'm going to move on, I'm going to practice a different rudiment, or I'm going to practice something else that's going to focus on developing creativity or something else, okay? And film and record your progress, and that's just a really good tip. And I've been so lucky, Dave's been so lucky, is we can always come in here and film. And every lesson I do, I can go back and I taught that lesson. I could have played that better. I could have played that better. Wow, now I'm better at that. I remember when I did it before. And it's a kind of a good storyline of my drumming, and I've been very lucky with that, and Dave has too. And so, for you members there Edge members, there's 500 hours of lessons. It'll take you 20 days if you started right now to sit down and watch all of it. you're not going to watch all of it. That's not the point, right? The point is that there's something for everyone, something for every single skill level, something for every single style of music and that sort of thing. So that's why we do that, not to overload you with information. Another thing for Edge members is you haven't taken advantage of the student plan feature, the student focus feature. Do that. Get some reviews. Dave's actually developing some more generalized student plans, which are going to be great because not everyone wants to fill in their personal information and stuff, right? And tell us about yourself. And so Dave's going to have some pre-written, really solid student plans. You just download these, you say, I'm going to do this. And it tells you when you're finished, and it tells you when to move on. It's just awesome. Dave does such a good job of those. So,
oh, well, thank you so much, Jared.
That's good. $50, please.
It took 500 lessons for Jared to give me a compliment.
No, I give you a compliment.
Yeah.
I said your hair looks much less stupid now than it did when it was longer.
Okay. Well, the one legitimate 500 lessons, and I get one legitimate compliment. You move on to the next point.
Okay.
Are you moving on to the next point?
Yes.
Okay. Can I give away some pair of sticks?
Sure. Yeah, sure.
I got some Drum You Edge trivia, and I just I'll do one question, just one, just to split it up just a little bit. And I'm going to ask this at anybody in the chat. The first person to get it closest to the number, okay, is going to win. And yeah, closest to the number, I'll say. Within 25? Within 25. How many members right now, and I'm going to generalize, but how many members right now do we have subscribed to Drum You Edge? All right, I'm going to look in the chat. 50, 14. Come on, guys. I guess that was before I asked the question, but how many members? Let's see.
Okay, well, I can go on, unless it's going to...
Holy cow. Like, oh, my goodness.
How do you expect to be able to even see the number?
Zero possibility.
Dave doesn't think through.
Zero possibility. There's no way I could see that number.
Okay.
So I don't know how we're going to do this because we have 200.
All right.
Too much. We'll think of another way. Jared, keep going.
Okay. Number 4 on mistakes that all drummers make, and this is, again, I'm guilty of this, is they get obsessed with useless techniques. And what I mean by that is you want to practice something for the wrong reason. So you want to practice something to impress your friends when the real reason you play drums is not to impress your friends, it's to play music. Or something like that. And I've been guilty of that where it's like, oh, I want to learn how to do this. Okay, so I can do that with one hand, and that's great. A lot of drummers can use that really, really good musically because they have an outlet for it, and so that's why they learned it, because they wanted to do something more. Me, personally, I have very little outlets for that other than the fact that I can now teach it. And I guess you could argue that that's an outlet, but in reality, you know, when I go gig, when I go do sessions, no one has ever hired me for that particular skill. Same with double bass. I kind of stopped working on double bass because no one was ever hiring me for that, and I don't really like the music that requires a ton of double bass. And so now I'm just like really focusing on left foot because I need this for like the funky kind of rock stuff I like to do, fusion-y kind of stuff, and I love adding a lot of left foot in there. And so don't learn the useless techniques. And this is another tip from a Kenny Arnoff lesson that happened on Drum U a few weeks ago. And he says, practice what you need for today, for the gig, what I need to know for upcoming gig right now. He has very little practice time because his schedule is insane. And so he's basically saying, when the time I get practicing, I can't practice, you know, the one-hand rolls or all this double bass stuff. So he just does what he needs to know for the gig. And so I think that's a really simple but good reminder for us. And then focus on musicality first. And musicality, it could be that you want to play some dubstep, you're going to play some hyper step music where you need this like one-handed roll, or you need those fast double bass if you're playing heavy metal. Then, you know, you need that to express yourself musically. I totally agree you should learn it then. But if you have no use for it in the music that you're playing, then it's not necessary right away.
I agree.
How does that sound, David?
Sounds good. And I just wanted to say right now, so everybody can stop writing numbers in the chat. It's been going nonstop. We're almost maxed out the chat on this lesson.
Oh, nice.
It's incredible. And I've never done Q&As in the chat with this many people in there, and it's just not going to work. So what I'm going to do is I'm still going to ask the questions just because they're pretty good trivias, but I'm not going to give away that way because it's just too hard to see. So I'm going to give everything away by going to facebook.com/Drumeo, and then
why don't we just give a few things away so that you submit a question in the box below?
That's going to be even worse.
No, but if you submit a question related, I'm taking over now. If you submit a question related to this lesson, and it's a good question, and we're like, man, that's a good question, we're going to send you some stuff. Okay, we'll announce it. And so I don't know how much stuff, but all I'm going to say is, ProMark has been good to me, sending me sticks and stuff all the time, and so we have the means to send some stuff out. Look at these brand new Drumeo sticks. Just got like 250, 300 pairs. Drumeo, ProMark sticks.
There we go. So let's do that. By the way, there's just over 1,700 members now of Drumeo Edge.
Awesome.
So just to let you guys know, that's the answer to the last trivia. But okay.
Okay. Thanks for interrupting me, Dave.
That's what I do. I'm here to interrupt the instructor. So go ahead, Jim.
No, you're awesome, man.
I appreciate it.
You are the best host in the world.
3 compliments.
You know what? You know who just called me the other day? Dave Letterman called me and says, I want to take some hosting lessons from Dave.
So now it's gone. Flip right back around. What's number 4?
Okay, number 5. We're on number 5.
Okay.
And if this is you, if any of these mistakes, you're like, oh, I'm doing that right now, tell us in the chat. Say, I'm doing that right now, and just maybe Dave can read it out or something like that.
I'll do my best.
Number 5, they consider jam time practice time. That is me all the time. All the time. I'll sit down. That is fun, but I'm not practicing anything that I don't know or anything that I need to know for a gig. And I consider that practice time, something that you don't know yet and you're struggling with. So that could be you need to get a little bit faster in your single strokes around the drums because you need to play music that's that tempo and do fills. Okay, that's something that practice up tempo, so it's pushing yourself and it's fun practice, right? Mm-hmm. It can still be fun. But it's not just jamming and playing something I already know. Like, I already know how to do that. And so...
it's always funny when you get someone you're talking to and they say, oh, yeah, I practice like 3 hours every day. Yeah. And then literally all they're doing is just jamming for 3 hours.
Well, I always ask them, so what kind of things are you working on right now? Oh, just playing. I'm like, okay. So you're jamming for 3 hours. Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying anything wrong with that. It's just, if you really want to get better, here's some tips. So separate your practice time from your jam time. Okay, that's very, very important. My jam time is when I get together with musicians, I jam out. My practice time is when I'll film lessons and stuff. I need to rehearse for those lessons. I'll come in here, I have sheet music, I have a structured routine that I go through. I need to learn this at this tempo, this at this tempo, this at this tempo. Once I finish those, I can move on. And at that point, I might put on some music like Incubus or Dave Matthews, and I'll play along with that. That's jam time then. Who doesn't like playing along with Carter Beaufort? This is another thing. Schedule your practice routines for clarity. I have not done this all the time, but I do it a lot when I prepare lessons for teaching. I'll actually come in and make sure that I know all the stuff and I can go through it and play it at every tempo, teach it slowly. And so for me, that's like a very scheduled practice routine. I know what I'm doing going in. I don't go in and be like, now what am I doing? Because then I'm going to waste 15 minutes trying to find something to do. You have a wall of books and DVDs. And I know Drumeo members like this because we sell books and DVDs. And I think we're pretty good at it. And so a lot of people have a lot of stuff, which is great. Yeah. I mean, I have like 100 or more drum DVDs. And if I wanted to work out of one of them, and I just went there at the time of my rehearsal to practice, and now I'm choosing, like, no. Plan what you're going to do, then go there and practice, okay? And write down your accomplishments for motivation. This is something we're trying to do more and more for Drumeo now. Rick Kettner, someone here, is doing a 6-month challenge. He's like the co-founder of Drumeo, and he's doing where he's played drums for 6 months.
He's now moved on to 40 days of rudiments.
Right.
One rudiment every day.
It's great, and he's writing it all down on the forum, and other members are doing the exact same thing, so they're able to like share their successes with people, and other people will see that and be like, it's motivating, right? Rick said he was going to do that rudiment thing, and now like tons of other people said, I'm going to do it with you. And so you have all these members like collectively practicing around the world and just like motivating each other, just by simply writing down accomplishments and saying, I did this today. People love that, right? Mm-hmm. It's like people who get up early and then they make sure they post on Facebook really early so the world knows that they were up before anyone else. Like, yeah, you're good.
Yeah.
You're good. You can get up early. That's good.
Thanks
for sharing. Okay. Or people who post pictures of their dinner.
Oh, that's the worst.
You can cook. That's great. It looks good.
Yeah.
What does it do for me?
Yeah. Well, what does Facebook do for anybody, though, really? Really?
Well, now you're getting deep, Dave.
Yeah, now I've got a lot of hate mail coming through. No, I'm not singing a song.
What does Facebook do for you? I could see us selling that to Zuck for like $1 billion. Okay. Cool, Bill. You can have that, Mr. Zuck.
What number are you even on there, Jared?
We're going on to number 6. Okay, number 6 is they skip learning the fundamentals. This is one of the biggest things and mistakes that drummers make. This is what I did. After 2 years of drumming, I started with a teacher who wasn't very technical, and then I moved from there. I moved to a different teacher who is more technical but still not as good. And then I moved on to Lionel, and he's like, "Oh, what are you doing?
Yeah,
you don't play the drums like." It was painful to watch, and I was having like wrist issues in here. My wrists were hurting, and so basically I had to start over after like 2 years of time put in. And I had to sit there and go like this. For hours and hours in order to, really focus on getting a proper rebound, holding the sticks properly, and not being too tense. And so I had to relearn stuff. And I think now, that internet wasn't as prevalent back then, but now so many people have access to good information. And whether you're a member with us at Drumeo Edge, there's a lesson there, but there's also some lessons on our YouTube channel and stuff like that for free. I just really want everyone to start right and have a good, solid understanding of the fundamentals and a good foundational platform to build off of. Another important thing there is importance of note values and rudiments. Okay, note values help you be creative on the drums because you have an understanding of the options available to you, and it also helps you listen to music and decipher what the drummer's playing, what to play along with that music. And so having a solid understanding of the note values is very, very important in being a creative drummer, as well as the rudiments. The rudiments are the patterns that we apply those note values within. Okay, the next thing is learn the basics of reading music. Okay, it's fine if you've learned by ear up to this point. In order to continue progressing, it's really good to just at least understand the basics of it so you can learn more. Right now you can get a book from the music store, you can get a book from Drumeo, and you can actually read out of it, right? And so it's not like a lot of drummers will learn and not study sheet music at all, and that's fine. But I think if you really want to take it up to the next level, you need to learn how to read. And then learn to keep time with a metronome, okay? And don't just turn on the metronome at the default tempo, 120, and leave it there the whole time. Learn to play with it like it's a guitar player sitting there with you. You can jam with it and you play slow, play fast, play around the click, play ahead of it, play on top of it. Really learn to play with the metronome and build your internal clock. Cool. I'm flying through these, hey?
Yeah, you're going pretty quick.
That's great, because we have a lot of stuff to give away.
Yeah, we sure do, and there's over 60 questions that have come through.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna keep trying to go here. We're gonna get through this because I really wanted to kind of hit all these points, and we can give stuff away and maybe do a little a DB.
TV?
Drum battle.
Drum and bass.
I challenge you to a drum battle.
Just to let you know, Jared, nobody was a fan of your singing in there.
What?
We had people turning off their internet. We had people
turning off the internet.
People saying, "I'm going to leave." People saying my ears are bleeding.
Right. Okay, well, I take that as a compliment. How many guys can say with their singing they can make ears bleed?
Yeah. True. That's very true.
I am the one and only there.
Singinglessons.com. Freesinginglessons.com is what you'll open up next. But, all right, we got one more. And are you mentioning the links here with the lessons on there?
Yes. Okay. For you Edge members, there's links to every single, for all these mistakes, if you're like, I want to correct that, there's links to lessons. This is a 500th lesson, so I thought on the 500th lesson, it'd also be great to feature some past drumming lessons and stuff like that. And so,
yeah, because there's some gems in there. And the one thing about we do new ones every day, but I try to do new content every day. Yeah. So we've covered Ghost Notes like a ton. So all you new members who sign in, they're like, oh, where's all the lessons on Ghost Notes coming up? They're looking at the schedule, but we've done so many in the archives, and they're awesome.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make sure we threw you guys to those ones so you don't miss it, because 500 is a lot to sift through.
Yeah, it is, but there's filter things that you can use.
Yes.
Okay, so the number 7th mistake, this is again a mistake I made until probably like 3 or 4 years into my drumming, where I said, hey, maybe there is something other than this. Right? Maybe there is... Right? Some more styles of music, something different. And although I don't get called to play jazz gigs or Latin gigs, it has really bled over into my rock pop playing, where I now have more limb independence, more freedom. I'm more creative, right? Because if I want to do like a cool, I'm like, oh, maybe the tune bow pattern in this section of a rock song will sound really cool. And a lot of times it does. Mm-hmm. It's so funny there.
Just the chat. That's all.
Okay.
We're almost, like I said, we're almost maxed out here, so it's going pretty fast.
Good. Appreciating, this is something that my teacher in high school taught me, and he says every time we went there, he would put on music to start the class, and it was very different. He would crank it up to 11, and we would listen to music for like a good 5 or 10 minutes at the beginning of the lesson, and Dave's just laughing at me the whole time.
Go ahead, man.
And it really helped me gain an understanding and appreciation for other styles of music that I wasn't necessarily listening to at the time. So, choose a different style, like a Latin style or a jazz style or something like that, and just listen through the album and say, well, I don't really like the music, but I can appreciate what the drums are doing here. I can appreciate the technical ability it takes to do this. And I think that's really going to help you overall become a better musician and be able to be more well-rounded in the long run.
Can I add something to that?
No. Okay, the next thing is that yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to add a little thought. One thing I noticed when I was learning a lot of different styles.
Time's up. Okay.
When I was practicing, I was trying to do exactly what Jared said. I would force myself to listen to blues. I would force myself to listen to like even bluegrass, jazz, and it was good to appreciate the style of music. But what was happening is, I would remember listening to some old jazz albums, and I knew it was what I needed to listen to, but I would just start forgetting about it. I would just start focusing on something else. So the trick to that, I would think, is to try and find a style or try and find an artist or a certain song that you actually like. Try to start enjoying it. That's where you're really going to start branching off and actually being able to utilize what you're listening to into your playing. I mean, if you're just listening to it and say, yeah, I know what jazz is, do, and I really like it because I can appreciate the drummer, that's not enough. I think if you actually start really enjoying and finding a band that you want to listen to when you wake up in the morning, that's when you're going to see a huge improvement. So that's not easy to do. It takes a lot of time and research and going online and doing your due diligence of listening to the music and finding what music styles other bands sound like so you can get better, different kind of suggestions and all that. But if you do it, you won't regret it. That's for sure. I can guarantee you that.
Awesome.
Okay?
Okay, and the final thing, I think I touched on this before, is just it builds independence and creates a new technical foundation for you. And so the link below there is just a link to a jazz drumming lesson, but there's also lots of Latin lessons, and you can just kind of use the drop down on style of lesson and just choose Latin if you want that. But yeah, and so those are the 7 mistakes. And so if you have made any of these mistakes, please tell us. We're going to get to the question and answer portion of this lesson. We'll first do a drum battle.
Sure.
I will slay the dragon.
What are we going to do for this?
Drum battle?
Yeah.
Well, it's not a battle. We're just going to play. Just go for it.
Okay, you start.
I'll start.
I'll come in and do some tradings. Oh, with the brooms. Sweep your snare there. I call that last little bit there the Mike McAlco. I see him do this all the time. Every time I hit that bell, I always want to do it. So we'll have to do another one of those at the end where we do some actual training, some eights and all that kind of stuff.
I was just feeling it, Dave.
Yeah, just kind of grooving, going with the flow. So we have like 75. Let's see what we're at now. We had 75 when I left, but we're at 85 now.
Let's take some questions, and if I really like your question that Dave presents me, and he only presents with really good questions, I'll just give you a free pair of sticks. And it's not, if I don't give you a free pair of sticks, it's not that I don't like your question. It's just that we only have so many sticks, and there's lots of people watching. So
yeah, and I'm just going to randomly click because there's just so many. So here we go, random. Here we are. First one's from our kid.
Our kid.
Robert, good to see you in the chat. Okay, he says, how long do you stick with a certain subject you were trying to learn before you move on?
That's all about setting milestones for yourself and saying, well, what is the completion thing? And for me, it's like if I was learning the songo, I'd want to learn it at a certain tempo, and I'd want to learn to feel around with it. Or let's say the wawanko. If I was practicing the wawanko, I would say once I get it to the point where I can like feel around it, come back to it very easily, play along with the click track, that sort of thing. I'm not like a Latin drumming master or anything like that, but I at least feel good enough that I can move on to something else, and the techniques that I develop later on are also going to translate back to learning that. And so you have to know it for yourself.
Another question. Here we go. This one's from Pedro Jansen.
Pedro.
Okay, so he's got two questions. I'm going to choose the bottom one. It says, sometimes I have trouble organizing my practice time because I spend too many times, or too many days probably, studying in my college course. So I would like some tips on how to practice without sticks or pad. Can we tap on our legs? Some rudiments? Does it really help? Any advice on how to practice away from the kit without a practice pad and sticks, he says.
Yeah, that's totally fine. One thing I would recommend practicing is just, I taught this at a clinic the other day, is just 3-note groupings, right? And so right, left, bass, left, right, bass. Just something simple like that. Then just left hand. Left, right, bass, left, right, bass, left, right, left, bass. Right, left, bass. Then switch, right, left, right, right, left, right, right, left, right, right, left, right, left. Something simple like that, then add your hi-hat foot in on quarter notes, and then play that as 16th notes. Hopefully that made sense. I know you are a member, so if you want more information on that, just post it up in the forums or something as a question, or message me, and then I can send you some sheet music on that. Easy enough.
I remember learning tons of polyrhythmic stuff and odd time stuff at school. I would sit down and the lecture's going on. This is high school, and I would just tap and I would just figure it out, because you got to internalize it. Internalizing, you don't need a kit or a practice pad. So I remember doing plenty of that without a kit, and it worked, I think. So here we go. Here's another one. This is from Thomas. Oh no, not Thomas. Twirling Twister. Sorry, I gave away your name.
Twirling Twister.
Your alias. Oh my goodness, 3. I'm going to choose the bottom one. What is a way for someone who has learned to play the drums but did most of the mistakes listed break those habits? One sec, let me read that again. What is a way for someone...
The question.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. You want to break those habits, what can you do? Well, below each, and I know Twirling Twister, I know you're an Edge member, so below each of those mistakes, there's a video. And so I just say, if you want to get a better drum setup, then go check out the link to the lesson that was posted there. If you want to work on dynamics, go check out the link to that lesson. The beauty of it is I know you're a younger drummer. You're so lucky. You have access to so much information. It's insane what you can learn. Your biggest problem is going to be, well, what do I learn? When am I finished? That sort of thing. It's not finding information anymore. And so you have all the information there. And if you say all these mistakes that you're making, then you can go through those 7 lessons, and I think that's like a really good goal for you. Cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's a quick question I'll answer from Slipknot Matt.
Slipknot Matt, my friend.
Yeah. How can I get the most out of some cheap double bass pedals? I'll answer that one. If you can, do whatever it takes to save up an extra month, an extra couple months to get a pedal that's going to last you. The one thing I see when I bought a cheap pair, my very first pedals was a cheap pair too, and I was always blaming it. I was always working on adjusting it, and eventually I ended up getting another pair because it just wasn't working for me, because sometimes with cheap pedals, they just don't work as well, and they're never going to feel that good, and they might break on you. So if you can save up even $250 for a pair of Yamahas, which is actually what I use, will take you a long way. And I always recommend do that. You'll save more money in the long run. It's not about you don't have enough money yet. It's about saving money in the long run.
Also test out the springs. Okay, if when you hit the pedal and it doesn't come back very well, consider just upgrading the spring, and that could be like a $5 thing. So if you already have those pedals, just kind of look at what's wrong with them. Feel free to post a video of yourself playing them or the pedal up close, and we can maybe tell you, just a few of these things, and that would be as easy as that.
Yeah, and if you find a question that you really like, you have to let me know right away, because I ain't gonna remember the names. I'll have to go back and watch the lesson afterwards. Ben J. Drums asks, 3 minutes ago, what would you say the biggest difference between high, intermediate, and advanced drummers are? Where's the separation lie?
Oh, like I said at the beginning of the lesson, a big thing is dynamics, okay? Another thing is creativity. So it seems that the high-level pros are able to build parts for a song that fit better than the pros are able to build parts that fit for songs better than the high intermediate players. The high intermediate players have all the same technical ability. In many ways they're even better. Like they can play faster, they can play for longer, they can play all this kind of stuff, but they don't have the ability to construct really musical drum parts that fit the music perfectly. And so I think that's kind of like the one big thing that separates them. And since you asked that question, I'm going to go ahead and give you a free pair of drumsticks.
Okay, so that was...
Ready?
Yep.
Ready,
Ben
Victor?
J. Drums. Ben J. Drums. I'm going to reply to you. There you go, Victor. I'm going to reply to you. Just email me with your address, dave@drumeo.com.
Right.
You win sticks, I'll say, because we're in a bit of a rush here. So the next question we have, and this was another random one that I'll choose. Here we go. 19 Till Dawn says, how can I help my nephew to use a metronome? I've tried and even told him to watch your stuff. Help, please.
Well, depending on how old he is, by the way they're wording the question, it sounds like he's younger. Because if he was older, maybe you could reason with him more. But I would say put on music that you know is to a click track. And so any sort of pop music, top 40, that was recorded in the last 5 years, that's on the radio, it's going to be to a metronome. And so that's one way you can get him to really practice his time without saying, here, practice with this, which isn't very inspiring for him because he wants to just play rock music and play really, really loud.
I practiced most of my time when I was growing up to music instead of a metronome.
And that's why you have such poor time.
Could be.
No, I'm just joking. It's awesome time.
All right, here's another question. This one's from Yancey. Yancey says, with this being your 500th live lesson, what's the most embarrassing thing that you guys have had happen live? Oh, my.
Oh, my. Embarrassing thing. This is a good question. By the way, you're going to get a free pair of sticks, Yancey.
Yeah, Yancey.
I like you.
I like that question. That's a good one. And I don't even know. I mean, besides crashing and burning during, describing something or explaining something.
That's the most embarrassing thing because we practice stuff to, for me at least, I practice it hard to teach it, and then sometimes when you get in there and, we call it red light syndrome, we see the red light on the camera over there, and our body naturally sometimes just frees up or says, no, I don't want to do that right now. And then you're kind of like, what do I do? Right? And so it happens to anyone. It happens to like the best musicians where they'll make mistakes and stuff like that. But I hate doing it. I hate making mistakes on video. And so I can't remember the exact part, but definitely embarrassing. Okay, for me, I can tell you probably every single instructor's most embarrassing time they've been on, but that will be rude, and I won't do that. Oh yeah, I can't even pinpoint it. Like I said, I've been on 500, so if I were to say one, it might not be as bad. But I remember watching some of the very, very original ones that we did. In fact, I throw people sometimes to those ones like lesson 32. I think is practicing with play-alongs. Don't quote me on that. Or is it
lesson 40 is slide technique, and I'm looking at those videos, and I'm just like looking at the quality difference of even just like the studio here.
Yeah.
Before, this wasn't even painted blue; it was like a white, and we didn't have these black things on there. So yeah, just go into those old videos, and you'll have a good chuckle every now and then. Oh, I would say probably the lesson where we were, you were in the elf suit, and I was in the Santa suit. That'll take the cake.
Yeah.
John Gill says, "Hey Jared, here's my
John.
question. Why do so many drummers think more gear makes you a better drummer? Why do some drummers take more gear to a gig than they need? A new cymbal, a new drum pedal will not make you better, only focus your practice time. Great instruction and great lesson."
Because, John, that's what people, and that's been this way for the longest time, people think that making a decision to purchase something is going to provide the result that they want, not that the time they spend, how they spend their time is going to give them that result. And so what people will do is they'll end up, buying a different double bass pedal so they can go faster, when in reality their bass pedal is probably fine. It was their technique that was suffering. And so I think it's also marketing as well. The way things are marketed are marketed in a way that really speaks to those desires and needs of that person. And so they say, the fastest bass drum pedal on the market. Well, it might be really fast and smooth and well built and everything, but it requires a really good drummer, someone to actually use it like that. And so I think that's the biggest thing. Same thing with instruction or educational material and stuff like that. Like I said, I have hundreds of over 100 drum DVDs and stuff like that, and I love having that. But actually just making the purchase of one of them didn't give me the skill, right? It's not like I inputted the disc into my brain and now I have it. Otherwise, everyone would speak every single language if we could simply do that. Mm-hmm. Everything requires work, and I think it's people have some people have gotten lazy, and this is the whole instant gratification society.
Absolutely. Okay, here's another one. This one's from Rot3NH3Art. Hey Dave, sometimes I have a problem separating my feet with my arms in jazz bits. So can you tell me how I can practice that? Absolutely. All comes down to slow practice on jazz comping. And I didn't think it was as effective as it was. I remember when I wanted to learn jazz, and when I wanted to learn that independence, I remember getting a book. Which one was it that I was going through? Oh, The Art of Bop Drumming with John Riley, I think it is.
Yeah.
And
that's like one of the standard books you buy if you want to learn jazz. Yeah.
And I remember looking at one page, and all it was nothing but just simple eighth note exercises, and it was comping. I thought, how is this effective? And I know with Mike McAlkin, when he did the jazz drumming system, there's over 250 comping exercises on that book in that pack alone. And it was only when I started doing and when I started seeing the actual benefit to it. And it might be something as boring as this, Whatever it is, it's repeating until you become so comfortable with it that you don't even think about this anymore. That's all you got to do. And I swear, if you were to do that, find maybe the jazz drumming system if you don't have it yet. The Art of Bop Drumming is another one. We have edge lessons on snare comping exercises, and you just start there. Then you work on left foot comping, same idea. Bass drum comping. You'd be surprised, but that is seriously the best thing you can do for yourself.
It's called comping because it's used to complement someone else's playing. And so you use it very much in a listing manner, and you are very reactive with comping. And that's why it's so important to have all the combination, and that's why you see books with all these different combinations in them, because there's no one thing. Like everyone thinks jazz is this. That's one thing in jazz of millions and millions of combinations. And so it's important to learn all the different comping stuff.
Okay, we're going to keep going because it's 5. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
And then
we should give some more stuff away.
Yeah. Okay. So Victor, how are you doing back there? You still awake?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Let's ask some, or let's pick some of these Facebook winners here. At the very beginning of the lesson, I told you guys to go to facebook.com/Drumeo, like the page, and give us on the wall a comment on what you think the coolest part of Drumeo Edge is. And let's give away 2 stick bags right now.
Nice.
Let's do that. Victor, who is one lucky winner of a Drumeo stick bag?
We have a Corey Camara. I believe he's a member already. This is they're both novels, sorry. The best thing about Drumeo Edge is not only the convenience, but the wide array of point of views and opinions there are on Drumeo. It's easy for a drummer to become narrow-minded or to lose interest in drumming if they are stuck with only one teacher.
Yes.
For example, before I came to Drumeo, I had only watched the free YouTube lessons, and although I loved watching Jared's videos, I felt like I wanted to explore other ideas. Here on Drumeo, with my Edge membership, I can learn from a multitude of instructors from all sorts of music and genre backgrounds. If you want an instructor with an electronic background, you have amazing Michael Shack lessons. If you want heavy metal, you have Sean Lang. All the possible opinions and playing styles you could dream of are present on Drumeo. It's like a drum playground for you to explore.
Okay, well,
These,
first
I believe,
off,
are the best things.
First off,
well,
I just want to say, I know you chose that one, Victor, because there was a slight jab at Jared. So congratulations.
Right? Hey, and you guys need to give Victor and Kyle some props. They've been here for all 500 lessons, and they're just like the team behind the scenes.
Yes, virtual.
Why don't you just give them a wave? This is Kyle Trinke on your left. Victor Guadera on the right.
Hey.
They're the team.
So like that status, you've won a Drumeo stick bag, and email me, dave@drumeo.com, and I'll get you your address and stuff. We'll get you sent one. One more, Victor, another stick bag. Who does this one go to?
This is from Scotty Aldridge. He says,
Scotty!
The best thing about Drumeo is Victor.
That's the winner?
No.
Oh, shoot. I would have given it to him if it was. Scotty Aldridge is an awesome member.
I know he is. I'm sorry, Scotty, but that was an amazing comment.
But that's not okay. Well, Scotty, you're winning a stick bag for that. I'm not gonna put you through that. I'll send you a stick bag. In fact, if you're coming to the Drumeo Hang on September, which I believe you might be, I'll bring one with you. So, cheers to that. You got another one there, Vic?
I do.
Okay, here we go.
This is from. No, okay, I won't say any more of those. Mindfield. I don't know his full name. I have not signed up for Edge yet, but in doing so, I'd like to find the different kind of teachers, not the usual ones at music schools. I see that the Drumeo crew is amazing. I've been watching your YouTube videos for the past month. I absolutely love you guys. You're having so much fun, always smiling and joking. You're helpful and always answer questions to exhaustion. And obviously, the teaching method is insanely good. I actually learned a lot more in 1 month of videos than in 6 months of music school. I would just like to thank you for the way you are, the way you express yourselves, and the way you teach. Thumbs up from Italy.
Wow.
Cheers. Yeah, and if you want, because you're not a member yet, I can give you a free Edge month or a stick bag. You can choose. Like that status for me, Victor, and we'll get in touch that way. Okay?
Oh, awesome. A good comment. Thank you so much.
Couple more questions, one more jam, and then we're going to give away that snare bag.
Okay.
And then we should wrap it up. But and I'm sorry for everybody, because I mean, like literally, there's over 100 questions in there.
Well, give a few more months. Just give me some questions.
Here we go.
We'll do some power things, and I'll give some stuff away. That's what we're here to do.
Sarah Mann, this is a good one. What is your favorite lesson out of the 500, Jared? Quickly.
20-minute workout.
20-minute workout.
Yeah.
I'm going to probably say the one with Tony Royster, but the most popular lesson, based on how many views we have, is lesson 314, which is de-stupefying the left hand, which is mine.
Okay.
And the second most popular lesson is number 111, which is the Independence Boot Camp, which is another one of mine.
Of course, it's your favorite. Okay, we have a free month of Drumeo for you, a Drumeo card if you want, we can mail you, or give you a free month, or a pair of sticks, whatever you want.
Sarah Mann?
Yeah.
Email me, dave@drumeo.com. I'm relying on you guys to keep me accountable for this. This is a lot of winners here.
But we do have your email address.
Yes. No, not what's your favorite Klondike bar. That's not going to win. Sorry. Stephen Taylor says, if you're a beginner, and this is a different Stephen Taylor.
Okay.
If you're a beginner drummer and I know it's somewhat relative, but what's a reasonable amount of time to expect to be able to gig out a practice, I guess he's saying. I know with Drumeo it's now shorter than ever, but what's a reasonable expectation? 1 year, 2 years?
Oh, I wouldn't say that long. I'd say 3 to 6 months, as long as you start playing with people relatively soon. So learn those first kind of beginner beats and get together with musicians, play. Right? Yeah. The only thing that's stopping you is you. So just call your friends.
And Karen M was a member who joined in the beginning of the year. She gave herself a 90-day Drumeo challenge to see if she could be able to play along with music in a band. And I believe, I think it was either within the 90 days or shortly after she was already playing a show. And now she's playing gigs with a band. She's practicing along with that band. And it's just been over half a year. So, I mean, whatever you want.
Okay, free month of Drumeo or a pair of sticks, whichever you want.
Oh my goodness, here. Okay, hold 1 second here. You win. Email me. I'm going fast. All right, here's another one. This one here is from Scrat, S-K Rat. So, I've always played barefoot, but now I kind of feel like I need to play with shoes to play things with heel-toe slide technique and all that better. Should I play barefooted or should I be able to play with shoes?
I was the same way, and the only reason I stopped is because I'd get to gigs where it wasn't possible to play without shoes. Like, I played in the bar scene and stuff, and you do not want to walk through a bar with no shoes on. You don't even want to walk on the stage with no shoes on because it is sticky.
It's disgusting.
Right? And so that's the reason I learned. In your practice room, it's fine, but you need to learn with shoes. And so what you might want to figure out is some shoes that kind of conform to your feet really nicely. My problem was I had like skater shoes, which were like really kind of the big sole and not a lot of flex to them. And so it felt so different going from barefoot to my shoe. But now I got these, they're like these really kind of flimsy leather shoes that my wife bought for me, thinner sole.
Your wife buys your shoes for you?
I don't do any of my shopping.
Unbelievable. Are you kidding me?
No,
this is the first time I've heard that. Are you?
Wow. Yeah, and so I'm horrible when it comes to like shopping and style. Horrible.
So now if you're wearing something and I insult you, I'm insulting your wife.
Are you insulting my wife?
Not anymore. Not anymore. Now I don't know what to say.
Do you know that I know Kung Fu?
Oh, man. Okay, well, you win. I've emailed you. Email me back, Scrat, dave@drumeo.com. You can choose a free month or a pair of sticks.
Yeah.
Okay, keep going. Keep going.
Yeah,
Here.
let's do 2 more.
Okay. This one's from...
We're giving away way more than $300 worth of stuff.
Yeah, we have.
Count all the months.
Oh, man, I'm trying to find a good one here. Not just like, what's your favorite kind of ice cream?
What would you do for a Klondike bar?
Adam Jacobs, what's the difference between the different styles of wood? Oh, this is a big one. Okay, we'll just really quickly say that Adam Jacobs, you are going to win a free month of Drumeo Edge, and I'm going to send you to a lesson that we have on there that's all about the wood shell, the construction of the wood shell, what characteristics each shell. Hey?
Way to tie it in.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm going to give you that right now without even answering that question because that's a loaded one. So
we had a drum builder, Jason Cleaver, who's the owner and builder at Casey Drums. He knows tons about that kind of stuff. And so he brought in a bunch of shells. You're going to love the lesson.
Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah. We have one on heads, cymbals, shells, pedals, even practice pads. Believe it or not, we did an hour-long description and breakdown of practice pads.
Well, I would have really liked to know that back in the day. I ended up buying these like junky things that I never would have bought had someone said, don't buy that. Right?
Yeah. I was actually surprised. We did a whole hour of it, and we could have done more. So, Mike A, if I want to make a career out of drumming, here's a good one. Okay, Mike A, good question. If I want to make a career out of drumming, what should I practice to do that? What do you recommend I listen to?
If you want to make a really full-time career out of drumming, as far as playing, I'd really recommend you keep up with all the top 40 tunes, get really good at playing them and knowing exactly what the drummer's doing, and then market yourself to all the different cover bands. That's the kind of stuff that's getting played the most in bars and everything. If you want to go broke, play original music.
Yeah.
Also, get in with the jazz scene. If you are a jazz player, learn all the standards and stuff, and then you're able to sit in with different people. Okay, and from there, you'll kind of work your way into some of the sessions and stuff, and that's where you can be creative and get paid to play some original music. But yeah, I would, if I were to do that, I would, just learn like top 40 stuff.
Okay, Willie T. Last question?
Yeah.
Willie T.
That last gentleman or...
Yes, you won, and I emailed you already, so get back in touch with me. Willie T says, I love all that Drumeo has to offer, but I believe for me as a beginner, I still need my own personal instructor. I've been with a guy for almost 2 years. How do you know when it's time to move on and get a better instructor and find yourself a better instructor? Well, first off, if you've been with him for 2 years and you still call yourself a beginner, you might want to look into other options. I don't know your situation, so I don't want to speak downly on him, but
it could be that he's not practicing enough.
That's true too. Yeah, absolutely.
I wouldn't always blame the instructor, but it could be anything. And I don't think it's any length of time, and no one can say whether you should still be there a beginner or still not be a beginner. It comes back to that thing what you said, that going to drum lessons isn't going to make you better, right? You putting in the work that and learning the stuff that your instructor is giving you is going to make you better. Now, I don't know what he's giving you. So for me, a good instructor, and this happened to me 2 or 3 times, when I was taking lessons, my first instructor, he came in one day, and he wasn't a super technical guy, just super musical. And he's like, okay, I got nothing left. And so he's like,
Yeah.
and that was our last lesson.
That was your last lesson.
And
yeah.
same thing with Lionel, awesome teacher. He said, you know what, I feel our lessons are getting a little bit stagnant.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was paying him like $200 or $300 a month to teach me drums.
Mm-hmm.
That takes a lot of guts to do that as a teacher that is kind of dependent on that money. But if they are a really solid instructor, they will do that. And if they have like, enough, I would say honor or whatever, or class, I'd say it's very classy for an instructor to do that, and I love it.
Yeah, very true. And the one thing about drumming is you can make it what you want. I know there's a lot of lurkers that are members that just love watching the lesson. That's totally fine. But if you really want that one-on-one and that support from the instructors and the community, you can really make it almost better than a private instructor, because you can contact them and communicate with them throughout the whole week. You can submit your own videos, almost like like do video reviews and stuff. So, and because of that question, I've given you a free month of Drumeo Edge. So email me, daviddrumeo.com, and you'll see yourself if you think that Drumeo Edge could work for you, because that might be your an eye opener for you, saying, hey, I could learn twice as fast by doing it at my own pace rather than doing once a week. But everybody's different, so we'll see we'll see how it works for you.
I always say, if you can do both, do both. A lot of people sign up for Drumeo or do online lessons because they can't schedule a weekly lesson with an instructor, or they can't afford that, which is like $50 or $60 for 1 hour. And so they come to something like Drumeo Edge. It's $30 a month, and it's just more affordable and that sort of thing. And so one is better than the other, I can't really say. Very, very different though, right? Mm-hmm. Cool.
Okay, so we'll leave it at that, because we can go on all night if we do.
Okay, so we're going to do a drum battle?
But before we do the drum battle, we just got to give away the last snare bag.
Okay.
Bag. This is going to be one that Victor's chosen. Victor, who's winning the snare bag? Jerry, give us a snare roll.
I have not chosen. I didn't know I was supposed to choose the third.
Okay, we're going to do the drum battle, and then we're going to choose, Victor's going to have one ready, and we're going to give away this awesome snare bag. Okay?
Cool.
You go ahead.
All right, Victor, who wins the snare bag?
Okay.
Okay.
All right, everybody, let's see.
It's smooth. Listen with Victor Modell.
Some Larry Carlton going on.
Well, I'm looking at a half-empty
Jeez.
bottle of Cavatier here, so it looks like we're almost done.
Alrighty.
So, Victor, who wins?
So we have Josh Carpentier.
Josh Carpentier.
The greatest thing about Drumeo is that it keeps drummers so motivated. They have hundreds of lessons, and after you watch one, it makes you want to hop on your drum set right away.
Cool.
Awesome.
That's it, man. That's totally it. We're here to motivate more than anything. And, you know, the internet's flooded with information. It's inspiring and it's motivating. It's fun. It's an awesome community. So very cool. Thanks for that post or that comment on our Facebook wall. You won a Drumeo snare bag. Can you like that status there?
And everyone email dave@drumeo.com if you want. Dave will most likely remember, but also email him. It'll just kind of
Please,
solidify.
yes. It's going to be a busy evening for me. But thank you, everybody, for joining us. We had basically like a maxed out chat for the first, like for the most part of this lesson.
Awesome. And I just want to quickly say thank you to Dave. Dave works his butt off on
Thank you.
Drumeo lessons. I work on that as well, but I also work in other projects and other areas of Drumeo. But Dave is like fully invested in Drumeo Edge, and I'm more of like an artist, someone who comes in and teaches, and so we work together on lessons and stuff like that. But yeah, so thanks to Dave for doing it. Thanks for Victor Godera and Kyle Trinke. They're the dynamic duo behind the board, and they make everything sound and look unbelievable. Okay, so, and thank you so much to everyone upstairs. This is our studio down here, who are just kind of like making the site go. Kenton, Rick, Trent,
Come on, you
Kyle,
got it.
Nate, who writes awesome play-alongs. Pam, she does the books. Jamie, my brother, he does cool video editing and cool graphics and stuff like that. And I said Rick. And Chad. Sorry, man. Chad is awesome. And then Brianne, who does cleaning and some packaging and shipping and stuff. So you guys are all awesome, all a big part of us. And the biggest thank you goes out to our awesome group of members. Like Dave said, there's around 1,700 strong now, and it just keeps growing. And with any of this sort of stuff, you're always like, okay, at what point are people going to be leaving and coming on, and it's going to like stay the same? And that's always like the biggest fear. And so I'm so happy that it's continually growing, and it's just awesome to be a part of something that I know the community is behind. It makes it so much easier to innovate and to continue to push forward. And you know, it's amazing where we're going to be in like 5 years from now. So
Yeah, I can't wait. And tomorrow we're rocking another lesson with Mike McAlco.
yeah, cool. So thank you guys all so much for coming out. See you.
See y'all later.